The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Ron Juckett. Welcome to the program for this 29th day of November. And a surprise Tuesday stream because the wife didn't have an appointment this morning. So I can give you bonus stuff. And today we start a new series. The hockey will return. But one of my regular watchers or viewers is having some tough trouble, and he really enjoys my baseball stuff. And so for the next couple weeks, we're going to just mix the baseball in with the golf, and we'll get a hockey stream in there sometime along the way. But you know, we want to make sure that all of our viewers are kind of happy and content. And if that's what he wants to watch, then by God, the baseball guy is going to give him some baseball. So for the next couple weeks, we're going to be playing with Steve Tate's 5-year slice set of great teams. And so we won't go through and tell you what year everyone's from because it's not even a pure... I mean, Steve Tate did the best 2 years out of 5 for these teams. So here's a series of streams we're going to call Decade Duels. 2 teams in a given decade that, given the right opportunity, could have won multiple championships of their own. I don't know what my friend who is under the weather likes for a favorite team. I'm sure he'll tell me the next day or two. But we'll start with one of the great decade duels of all time. The mid-'80s Cardinals and the mid-'80s Mets from Shea Stadium. The Cardinals bring back the House of Tudor. And if you watched my World Series or playoffs, John Tudor pretty much performed his own Game of Thrones from the mound. If you're going to beat the Cardinals, you got to beat the House of Tudor. And nobody, the Dodgers nor the Blue Jays, could do that. So the 85 through 89 Cardinals, who honestly should have won 2 World Series, will face the 84 through 88 Mets. Again, another team that should have won 2 World Series. And they will feature some guy by the name of Dwight Gooden. So, a word of caution, every time that we play one of these teams, we're going to use a DH, whether it was a DH or not. And if you don't like it, sorry. So everything in this series will have a DH. I'm not going to do a tournament. Al is doing that, if you like Al Red Sox fan. So we're just going to do a bunch of one-offs here and say we hope that you feel better really soon. So we start with a classic. It's the 85 through 89 Cardinals versus the 84 through 88 Mets. And I'm playing the Mets. All right, let's get to it. As Retro Sports Network presents a decade duel. How you doing, Big Dave? Today, from a rainy and warm Shea Stadium in Corona Park, New York, it is the mid-'80s Cardinals and the mid-'80s New York Mets. And today's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. And so it is one Dwight Gooden, who, if you're going to model an ace pitcher, he would be it. And he's modeled after 85, but again, as Steve Tate told us, this is not his 85 years. I would wonder if they used he used 85 or 86. So he is 21 years old, a fastball that tops out at 94, a ground ball plus pitcher. And again, you can steal on Gooden, and the Cardinals just stole on everybody. So in the amalgamation, if you will, 20-6 with an earned run average of 2. 247 in the third innings, 180 hits, 10 homers, 71 walks, and 272 strikeouts. And this will be the lineup he'll face. Again, these are not exact lineups. And we are playing with the DH. But Vince Coleman is going to lead off in left field. And looking at the outcome box, Coleman is going to be as effective today as he was in the postseason in 85 for me. Ozzie Smith will bat second at short. Then Jack Clark cleans up at first base. Tom Brunansky is in right, and he'll clean up. And I forgot when Bruno was with the Cardinals, but he's there. Pedro Guerrero is a DH, so the Cardinals have some pop. He'll bat fifth. Jose Oquendo gets the call over Tommy Herr at second. He'll bat sixth. Terry Pendleton at third will bat seventh. Tony Pena behind the plate goes eighth. And because we're essentially going to go with the dual leadoff system here, so employed later on by American League teams, Willie McGee isn't in center field batting ninth because he can't hit. He's just going to give extra leadoff protection for Coleman. Defensively for the Mets, Kevin McReynolds, a 5 and a 7 in left. Lenny Dykstra, a 7 and 6 in center. Darryl Strawberry, a 6 and a 7 in right. Dave McAdoo is a 7 at third. Rafael Santana, a 7 at short. The Mets option, that's probably was their biggest offensive Achilles heel, was at short. Wally Backman, a 5 at second. Of course you're going to go with Keith Hernandez at first. He's a 10. Gary Carter, an 8 and a 6 behind the plate. And Gooden, a 7 on the mound with a .964 fielding percentage. It is a light rain here in Corona Park. Wind blowing in from right center at 10, and it's a beautiful 80 degrees here in New York City. Coleman steps in at 274, 10 triples, 3 homers, 40 RBI, and if he should get on, he stole 95 bases. And so this one starts. Strike three. Gooden got him on a 2-2 curve outside. 1 out. So that brings up the Wizard. Ozzie at 293. No homers and 64 RBI. Gooden sets and deals. There's a ground ball to third. Magadan has it, but that's going to be an infield hit as Ozzie beats it out. So a single for the Wizard, and that'll bring up Jack Clark. 270, 22 homers, and 64 RBI. Gooden throws to first. Hernandez puts the tag on, but Ozzie's back. And Dwight now will concentrate at the man at the plate. And Clark struck out. A 1-2 check swing for strike three. So that's 2 for the doctor. And then it'll bring up Brunansky. 242, 21 homers, and 82 RBI. 89. Okay, so he went from the Twins to the Cardinals, and then Bruno went to the Red Sox. 242, 21 homers, and 82 RBI, and even in Whitey's system, he stole 10 bases. 2 out pitch. Brunansky up the middle, Gooden off the mound left side, throws to first, and that will retire the Cardinals. They get a hit and leave a runner on. Half an inning in the books, no score. And so again, Dodger fans get to grimace over the house of Tudor. John, 31 years old, based on his 85 season. Standard pitcher, fastball tops out at 85. Somewhere in the Warner Brothers lot, Bugs Bunny is proud. Tudor 17 and 8, a 2.37 earned run average, 247 innings, 203 hits, 18 homers. He's walked 51, struck out 138. Here's how the Mets line up. Dykstra leads off in center field. Backman at second will bat second. Strawberry in right will go third. Howard Johnson, who just was not a good glove, really, he could play everything. A jack of all trades, but in the field, really a master of none. Cleans up as the DH. Gary Carter behind the plate goes fifth. Keith Hernandez at first bats sixth. McReynolds in left goes seventh. Magadan at third bats eighth. And Rafael Santana at short will go ninth. The Mets are not using the dual leadoff. Basically because they couldn't think of who to put in that position. And Gooden through 19 pitches in his half of the first. Defensively for the Cardinals, Coleman a 6 and a 6 in left, McGee a 6 and a 6 in center, Bernansky a 6 and a 7 in right, Terry Pendleton is a 9 at third, the Wizard is a Wizard, he's a 10 at short, Jose Oquendo a 9 at second. Look at that fielding percentage, a 995. That's amazing. And Jack Clark a 5 at first. Tony Pena and his cross-legged style, a 9 and an 8 behind the plate. And Tudor is a 7 with a 966 fielding percentage. Dykstra at 290, 9 homers and 44 RBI. And Tudor starts his effort with a ground ball up the middle. Ozzy's behind the bag, throws to first, 1 out. Brings up Backman. Backman, a switch hitter, does not hit lefties well. That's why the Mets had Tim Tuffle. 293, a homer, and 32 RBI. They play for the bunt. We're not going to oblige. And Tudor got him on a rainbow curve, a 2-2 looky-loo, 2 out. For Strawberry, 275, 39 homers, and 102 RBI. Tudor winds and deals, and Strawberry punches this one into center. McGee is there to retire the side. So the Mets go in order after 1, no score. And yep, it's hard to believe, but Pedro Guerrero was a good Cardinal after his run with the Dodgers, hitting 311 homers and 73 RBI. And unlike most of Whitey Herzog's players, he was not a speed demon. He only stole 1 base. Gooden starts the second with a fly ball left center that's going to drop in front of Dykstra. And Petey will hold at first. For Jose Oquendo, I want to say he was with the Mets first. 285, 4 homers, 47 RBI for the Cards. Gooden rocks and deals. He drops one down. Gooden picks it up, throws to Backman covering for the out. And the sacrifice works. Guerrero goes to second. And here is Terry Pendleton, 263, 7 homers, and 78 RBI. Gooden sets and deals. There's a base hit into center field. Guerrero's going to round third and hold. So that's the 3rd Cardinal hit. And that brings up Tony Pena. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Tony at 262, 7 homers, and 44 RBI. Fly ball right field. Strawberry moves over into foul territory, and someone from Suffolk will make the catch. And the count goes to 2-2. Gooden from the set. Got him! Fastball swung on and missed, and that's 3 for the Doctor. Here is Willie McGee. 289, 7 homers, 8 triples, and 77 RBI. 2 out here in the second, no score. Gooden deals, and a snap throw down to first, and Pendleton's back. So the pitch was outside for a ball, and Carter chucked it down to Hernandez. And Pendleton saw that one all the way. Gooden throws to first, and Terry makes it back. So a 1-ball count to McGee. And Willie's hit by the pitch. Gooden shakes his head. That's not what he wanted to do. And the bases are juiced for Coleman, who struck out his first time up. So the Doctor, 40 pitches, 9 batters, an inning and 2/3, 3 hits and 3 strikeouts. So Guerrero on third, Pendleton on second, and McGee on first. Gooden deals. Coleman hits a slow bounder to Santana. Rafi goes to Backman, and that will get the mess out of the jam. The Cardinals leave them loaded. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. They've left on 4. Bottom of the second, no score. So Howard Johnson digs in. Hojo at 248, 30 homers, and 84 RBI. And remember, if it's not your mother, it must be Howard Johnson. Whether he likes fried clams or not is another story. Pitch to Hojo. Struck him out. So that's 2. Here's Carter, 268. Gary, 28 homers and 102 RBI. Oh, is Steve Tate making videos? That's great. I'm delighted. And again, this is from his set. We got a member of our community, I won't mention who he is, who is not feeling all that well. So for the next little while, we're just going to do some decade duels between the leagues. And our first one is the mid-'80s Cardinals and the mid-'80s Mets. Tudor's pitch. And Gary draws the walk. So the 3-1 was down and away. 1 out for Hernandez. Keith at 309. 12 homers, 92 RBI. How you doing, Bernie? Pitch to Hernandez. Here's a chopper to Oquendo. Jose might try for 2. Ozzie for 1. Hernandez beats out the relay, and it's just a 4-6 fielder's choice. 2 out for Kevin McReynolds, looking dapper in his San Diego Padre uniform. 282, a big part of that 88 Mets run. 28 homers and 97 RBI. Tudor in the left. Coleman moving in. I'm doing fine, Bernie. He'll make the catch. That's Coleman, not Bernie, and that will retire the side. Bernie's a Red Sox fan. He would never be caught in a St. Louis Cardinal uniform. No runs, no hits, no errors. The Mets leave a runner on. After 2, no score. So it'll be Ozzie, Clark, and Bernansky to face Gooden here in the 3rd. Ozzie singled in the 1st. Gooden starts the 3rd. Chopper to 3rd. Maggot in across the way. 1 out. So here's Clark. Jack struck out his first time up. Got away from Carter on strike 3. The throw down to Hernandez is in time, and there's 2 away. Bernansky, 0 for 1. We'll do an American League matchup on Thursday. We'll do golf tomorrow. Bruno, pass Backman into center field. Maybe no. Dykstra is going to play this on a hop. Don't be stupid and give up the double. And here comes Guerrero, who singled his first time up. So the Cardinals have 4 hits off of Gooden, but it's a bagel shop on the scoreboard. Guerrero, high ground ball to 3rd. Magadan goes to Backman for the out, and the Cardinals are retired. No runs, a hit. They leave a runner on after 2.5. No score. So Magadan, Santana, and Dykstra to face Tudor here in the 3rd. Dave, again, a member in 88 especially. 292, 2 homers and 30 RBI. Tudor starts the 3rd, a ground ball to Oquendo. Jose deep in the hole, gets a great stop, throws to 1st, 1 out. So Rafael Santana, who eventually would go to St. Louis, as you can see from his picture, 238, 3 homers, 36 RBI. If you just look at on-field performance, let's forget the cocaine and forget the rest of it, and the infighting with the Mets. Really, their outfield was not great outside of Strawberry. Dykstra was good, and Mookie was okay. but shortstop was their Achilles heel. Pitch to Santana. Raphael chops one to Ozzie, and Smith delivers over to first for the out. So 2 out for Dykstra, who's 0 for 1. Tudor opening 9, 34 pitches, 2 2/3 innings, a walk and 2 strikeouts. And again, as we said right from the top, these two teams should have won 4 straight World Series from 85 to 88. The Cardinals in 85 and 87. The Mets won the 86 World Series, deserved to win the World Series in 86. Yes, even as a Red Sox fan, I'm saying that. And were the best team in baseball in 88. And certainly should have gotten past the Dodgers. Please, hopefully no one decided to retire on their stack of Craig Jeffries rookie cards from that year. Pitch to Dykstra. Lenny draws a walk. So here's Backman. He struck out his first time up. Yeah, Kevin Mitchell. I remember, I think it was 90 when I got my first set of Strat, that Mitchell was a 488 at short. Like you'd ever use that. But yes, every once in a while, and again, you know, Raphael Santana, Kevin Elster, not going to beat down the barn door either with Gold Gloves or with batting average. Pitch to throw to first, rather, and Dykstra is back. When you are 1 pitch away from defeat, luck plays a big part in winning. Or go against John McNamara. I make no bones about that. My favorite manager of all time is Terry Francona. And I make no bones about that. My least favorite manager of all time is John McNamara. Gritty Little isn't getting a Christmas card from me either. Pitch to throw to first. Dykstra back again. Am I in the right spot? Yeah. Ron Washington feels our pain, Bernie. Pitch to Wally. There's a chopper to Oquendo. Jose will go to Clark for the out there. And, of course, that's 3 outs, so that will retire the side anyway. No runs, no hits, no errors. The Mets have left on 2. We go to the 4th, no score. So Oquendo, Pendleton, and Pena. And Jose was hit by a pitch his first time up. Base hit left field. McReynolds will pick it up. Yep, I think everyone has a soft spot for Terry Francona. His next stop is Cooperstown, and I hope that Dusty Baker, now that he has finally won a World Series, will join him. Terry singled his first time up. Oquendo on first, nobody out. Top the 4th, and the scoreless tie. To left, McReynolds in the corner, and Kevin makes a catch. The C's parred in left field, and Oquendo has to scamper back to first. 1 out for Pena, who struck out. Gooden has 4 with 1 out here in the 4th. Line drive left field, but that's a souvenir. Wow, is this stadium drawn wrong? That's the default park. He's going to dive and can't make the catch. So Oquendo rounds second, and McReynolds recovers in a hurry and holds everybody to a single. My goodness. That should have been, wow. Anywho, 6th hit allowed by Gooden, 1 out. And McGee was hit by the pitch, not Oquendo. John says, yep, Tito got a bum rap in Philly. They had a young team and needed someone who wouldn't hurt their confidence. He was set up to fail. Francona, his first claim to fame as a manager, didn't come with the Phillies. It came with the Birmingham Barons in 1994. Not just because of the strike, but they had a struggling prospect in the White Sox system that didn't quite pan out. And he went back to just being a scrub in basketball. You know, does anybody remember the name Michael Jordan? I'm not quite sure about that. Anyway, so Francona was Jordan's minor league manager. First and second, McGee chops one to Santana. Should be two. Backman for one. Wally turns, throws to first for the out, and it is a 6-4-3 double play. We've played 3.5. Cardinals have 6 hits and nothing to show for it. Bottom 4, 0-0. Bernie didn't like Bobby Valentine. I didn't like Bobby Valentine either. I thought that was the wrong fit. However, Bobby was great for the Mets. Getting thrown out in the Groucho disguise and that. Bobby was just wrong place at the wrong time. Meanwhile, I will go to my grave thinking that McNamara choked that World Series away. Strawberries 0 for 1. There's a liner to right. Brunansky makes the catch, 1 out. Ojo struck out his first time up. This one is into left. Coleman makes the catch, 2 out. For Gary Carter, who walked his first time up. Valentine, of course, learned at the knee of Walter Alston with his time with the Dodgers. Gary pops it up. Ozzie headed for foul territory on the third base side, and the Wizard makes the catch, and that will retire the side. We've played 4, and there is no score here at Shea. So Gooden opening 18 batters on 73 pitches. 4 innings, 6 hits, and 4 strikeouts. Coleman is 0 for 2. Yeah, you know, Little was overrated even before that, Bernie. The worst managerial decision in your lifetime, you think, was Little leaving Pedro in the game after 100 pitches. And that's up there. I still say Buckner being on the field in the 10th inning in Game 6 was worse. He'd used Dave Stapleton all year to replace Buckner. Now remember, the game was tied when the ball went through Buckner's legs, but yeah, no, Little left a lot to be desired. Hernandez and Magadan play for the bunt here, and Coleman strikes out an 0-2 fastball, 1 out. Ozzie 1 for 2 with a single. Yeah, McNamara had a history with the Reds too, which swaddled his fate there. Made it, yep. Little didn't do too much better with the Dodgers. Pitch to Ozzie Smith. There's a ground ball to second. Backman deep in the hole. Throws to Hernandez for the out. And there's 2 away. Yep. I remember I was talking with one of the developers of, at that point, Out of the Park. And we were chatting on AOL Messenger, which tells you just how long ago that was. And going, what are we thinking with that? And I asked him, and he looked at, went to like, I don't know what we're doing here. And, yeah. And then the worst part of that was not just leaving Pedro into rot, but trying to use Timmy Wakefield as a late inning closer. I mean, the thing with the knuckleball pitcher, ugh, you don't know how it's going to dance. Clark is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. And Gooden got him. So Clark has struck out 3 times today. No runs, no hits, no errors. We get to the commercial halfway home here at Shea. A light, rainy, hot, sticky day. No score. Well, this one has been a pitcher's duel, as you'd expect. John Tudor has bagels up on the board. 4 innings, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. And Gooden hasn't given up a run either. Just 6 hits through 5 and 6 strikeouts. So on the scoreboard, if you joined us late, you haven't missed a thing. Hernandez 0 for 1. Jamie, how you doing? Yep. What bugged John most about Jordan was that he wasn't any good. No, and honestly, I think it was a suspension from Stern and David Stern, and it just wasn't talked about. And he took some young kid's roster spot whose life was baseball, and either don't get a shot or his shot was delayed and may have crushed his chances. Yeah, I would agree with that. Jamie says Tudor continues his success from the 85 season. The House of Tudor coming to Netflix this fall. Bernie said Waitsfield was so liked by the Boston press they gave him a pass. Oh, absolutely, they have destroyed anyone else. In fact, Wakefield himself expected that he would get the Buckner treatment after that. And again, you know, I think as bad as leaving Pedro in too long, I think that's the decision you question most about Little. Why would you do that? You're just playing with fire. Anywho, Hernandez is 0 for 1. Tudor starts the 5th. A chopper to second. Okendo. Quick throw to Clark. Hernandez is out on a bang-banger. Oh, that was close. 1 out for McReynolds, who's 0 for 1. Red Sox traded Tudor. Was just one of many traded away. Tudor, however, to defend that trade, before they put up the 600 club, the wind just favored, hated left-handed pitching. Remember, the first real big lefty to pitch well at Fenway since the 40s was Bruce Hurst. Ojeda didn't pitch all that well at Fenway, and neither did Tudor. Casey Stengel, without the real help of analytics and stuff, avoided like crazy pitching Whitey Ford at Fenway, just for that reason. Pitch to McReynolds. There's a fly ball left field. Coleman goes back in the corner, way back there. Is it fair? Yes, home run. So McReynolds breaks up the no-hitter and the shutout with one right down the line and left to hit the foul pole. And it's 1-0 Mets here in the 5th. Hit the pole, and it's 1-0. Tribe fan says, then again, you could say the same about taking a roster spot with Keith Hernandez for Cleveland. They didn't expect the back injuries, and I think despite Hernandez's personal foibles back in the early 80s, which got him sent out of St. Louis, that he was a positive clubhouse thing. And I think that's what the Indians of that era needed, was veteran leadership. Here's Magadan. He's 0 for 1. Dave slaps this one first base side. Clark, that's a foul ball, and the count is 1-2. And I think, you know, at least Hernandez was a baseball player. And so, I mean, there are plenty of teams that take on people too late in their career and expect time to go back, or at least have something rub off. And I imagine that was the case when Cleveland signed Hernandez. Pitch to Magadan. Struck him out. That's 3. So 2 out for Rafael Santana, who's 0 for 1. And to right, Bernansky makes the catch to retire the side. But the Mets break through. A solo homer from Kevin McReynolds here in the 5th puts them on top 1-0. So Bernansky, Guerrero, and Oquendo to face Gooden here in the 6th. Tom has a single. He's 1 for 2. No runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. They've left on 6. The Mets 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, and they have left on 2. Bruno into left field. McReynolds moving over. Makes the catch, 1 out. For Guerrero, 1 for 2. I mean, for every Keith Hernandez with the Indians signing, you get Paul Molitor with the Blue Jays. And do the Blue Jays get over the hump in 92 without him? I mean, that's why you do it. He swings into right field. Strawberry over in the corner, and Darrell makes the catch, 2 out. Brings up Oquendo, who's 1 for 1 with a single. Winfield with a 91 Twins. I mean, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But John's thought of Jordan just filling a hole in the minor leagues, you know, I would agree with that. And it just goes to show, I think, to a lot of people that even minor league pitching is tough to hit. To short, Backman over to Hernandez, and that will retire the side. Bottom of the 6th now. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 5.5, Mets 1-0. So top of the lineup for Tudor for the Mets here in the bottom of the 6th. Tudor, 18 batters, 64 pitches, 5 innings. A hit, the solo homer to McReynolds. He has walked 2 and struck out 3. Dykstra has walked and is 0 for 1. Yep, Bernie says Bernansky made the most clutch catch in Red Sox history. The robbing in right field of a hit which won them the Eastern Division in 1990. That along with the Evans catch against the bullpen in the 75 series. A friend of mine who was an Orioles fan broke his heart. That, by the way, they played the White Sox that last series of the 90 season. And remember, the White Sox got away from the softball stuff for uniforms, had the curly C uniforms. And so that weekend, because they were going to be going into the new park the next year in 91, they broke out their new road grays, which they have worn ever since. Pitch to Dykstra. There's a little chopper down to first. Clark has to wait for it. Underhands it to Tudor, 1 out. Backman 0 for 2 with a strikeout. It's amazing. We're talking Cardinals and Mets, and we've talked White Sox and Red Sox throughout this stream. Pitch to Wally. Backman into left center. McGee moving over. Makes the catch. 2 out for Darryl Strawberry, who is 0 for 2. Strawberry into right field. Bernansky just has to wait for it. Makes the catch for the out. It is a windy day here in New York as we go to the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1-0 Mets. 83 degrees. Winds blowing in from right center now at 17, and it has rained the entire ball game. But not all that hard. Cardinals have the best looking uniforms in Major League Baseball. I'm not going to disagree with that. Pendleton 1 for 2 with a single. Although the Red Sox whites, which they don't wear enough of, are pretty sharp. Got him. A 1-2 fastball swung on and missed, and that's 7 for Gooden. Pena 1 for 2. Tony has singled and struck out. And he draws a walk, so he is the tying run for McGee. Let's see if this works. The double leadoff and the 9-0. Willie is 0 for 1. He's grounded into a double play and been hit by a pitch. There goes Pena on a hit and run. Popped up left side. Magadan hoping to get it. And that will hit the top of the dugout. So Pena scampers back to first. A 1-strike count now to McGee. And there goes Pena. That's another hit and run. Dykstra into left center is going to grab it. Pena better stop and go back to first. He does. And Dykstra with a tremendous sliding catch in left center. So 2 out for Vince Coleman, who has had himself just as good of a game as he did in the playoffs. 0 for 3 and 2 strikeouts. Gooden, 108 pitches, 27 batters, 6 2/3, 6 hits, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. Coleman goes down, and we've reached the stretch. 1-0 Mets. So it'll be Hojo, Carter, and Hernandez here in the bottom of the 7th. Howard is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Tudor's only thrown 79 pitches through 6, but yet is on the wrong end of a 1-0 count. To third, Pendleton has to hurry. 1 out. Gary Carter is 0 for 1 with a walk. Again, Steve Tate made these teams, and he did such a wonderful job. I think the only place you can find him, and Steve will correct me tomorrow when this goes up onto YouTube, is on the Action PC forum. Unless someone tells me otherwise. Pitch to Carter. Gary swings into left center field. McGee, 2 out for Hernandez, who's 0 for 2. And now it's raining here at Shea, so the rain has picked up in intensity. And the wind coming off the sound at 17. Bernie's first recollection of the Cardinals was a '64 World Series, and you became a Cardinal fan because they beat the Yankees. Yep. Pitch to Hernandez. He slaps this one to third. Pendleton goes to first, and Clark is there for the out. Well, we got ourselves a real pitcher's duel. We go to the 8th. 1-0 Mets. So Ozzie, Clark, and Bernansky to face Gooden. And remember, tying run is at the plate for St. Louis. Ozzie 1 for 3 with a single. And there's a line drive, first base side foul. And somebody from Brooklyn made that catch. And the count is 0-2. Into left, McReynolds. 1 out. For Clark, who has taken the collar all 3 times. See if the computer wants to replace him. It does not. And he strikes out again. That's 9 for the doctor. A full count fastball swung on and missed. And that'll bring up Brunansky, who was 1 for 3. And now they'll pinch it. They're going to go to Andy Van Slyke. So Van Slyke coming in, 266, 13 homers, and just 28 RBI. 421 at-bats. Gooden deals. And Van Slyke goes down. The doctor has struck out 10. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's the Mets 1, the Cardinals nothing. So McReynolds, who has the lone hit for New York, but just like manufacturer's Hanover Trust, he made the most out of his contribution by turning that one hit into a home run. Started a savings account today at manufacturer's Hanover. It'd get a free Sunbeam toaster with any deposit over $50. Nick Reynolds slaps one to short. Ozzie over to Clark for the out. Magadan is 0 for 2. Davis struck out. There's a ground ball. Base hit past Oquendo. So at least Tudor doesn't have to worry about losing the ball game throwing a one-hitter. Here's Santana, who can't bunt. He's 0 for 2. Magadan has my speed on first. Tudor's pitch to the plate. Santana in the left, Coleman in the corner. And that will be caught by somebody from Southbury, Connecticut. 0-2 the count. Now to Raphael. Tudor sets and deals. There's another fly ball in the left. And that's going to trail foul as well. And somebody from Yonkers made that play. 0-2 the count still. Third verse. There's a chopper to third. Pendleton goes to Oquendo for 1. Throw to first, and Santana's retired. Pick up a guitar and play that instead. After 8. 1-0 Mets. So righty switchy. Jesse Orozco will come in to close this out. Orozco 8-6, 19 saves, a 2.48 ERA, 80 innings, 65 hits, 6 homers, 34 walks, and 65 strikeouts. And we are modeling Orozco on, that year. Just saying. Oh, I forgot to give you age. 29 years old. He throws a slider. And the fastball tops out at 91. And Orozco is a ground ball plus pitcher. Gooden probably had a little more left in the tank. But in a 1-0 game, you go with it. A second run and you give him a base runner. But with the tying run now still being every one at the plate, the margin for error is just too big. Pedro 1 for 3 with a single. Ground ball to Hernandez. He takes it to the bag himself. 1 out. So we'll have golf for you tomorrow. We'll have another digital, or what did I call this? A decade duel in American League One on Friday. On Thursday. Oquendo is 1 for 2. Into right field. Back goes Strawberry to the track. And Darrell will have that hit the wall. So Oquendo moves into second with a 1-out double. And he is the tying run. And so the Cardinals, I believe, this is the first chance they've had to score. They have had 7 hits and left all 7 on. Well, obviously not Oquendo yet. They've stranded 7. Here's Pendleton. Terry 1 for 3. He has singled and struck out. Ground ball. That hit a kendo. It was a ground ball that was going to be hit to Santana, but Okendo got hit in the shoe and he's out. Because it hit the runner. They give Pendleton first on a single, but the Cardinals literally have almost just run themselves out. 2 out for Tony Pena, who has walked, struck out, 1 for 2. So on a rainy, windy, hot, sticky New York summer afternoon, we're down to the last out. Last chance saloon for the Cardinals. If somehow Pena does something, Dykstra, Backman, and Strawberry in the 9th for the Mets. Pitch to Pena. Popped him up. This will not be a happy recap, Mr. Murphy. Backman will be, I take that back, a happy recap as the Mets beat the Cardinals 1-0. Goodness gracious, Buffy St. Marie. Kevin McReynolds, his solo shot in the 5th, the lone run of the ball game. St. Louis, no runs, 8 hits, no errors, and they left all 8 on. The Mets, 1 run, 2 hits, and no errors, and they left 2 on. Talk about economy. John Tudor loses throwing a complete game 2-hitter. D. Scott Howard, if he was awake and watching, would go, how come my Dodgers couldn't do that? 8 innings, 2 hits, the solo homer to McReynolds, who's your digital dice player of the game. He walked 2, struck out 3 on 99 pitches. Dwight Gooden goes 8. He allowed 6 hits. He walked 1, struck out 10. He probably had another inning in him. Orozco goes the 9th, allows 2 hits, picks up the save. On 16 pitches, 13 were strikes and 3 for balls. And that will do for that. Anyway, so Thursday we will do an American League Decade Duel. And I'll take a look to see who I think would be a good choice for that. But again, next couple of weeks we're going to do these Decade Duels. We'll come back to the hockey at some point in the near future. We did enjoy that. But as I said in the open, a member of the community is not feeling well and enjoys listening to baseball, so we're going to give him some baseball instead. It's golf tomorrow, and I will see you then. But for now, I'm Ron Juckett. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow for golf. Have a good day, everybody. So long.